I got a signal from the system to buy Boom 1000. So I'm in this trade right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this trade play out. Then afterwards, I'm going to tell you what I looked out for in order to take this trade. All right, so let's let this trade play out. TP1 has been hit. TP1 has been smashed, in fact. Look at that. Beautiful spike right there. TP1 smashed. So as you can see, both TPs have been hit. TP1 hit, TP2 hit, market spiked, and then came back and attached my TP2 line, which is my signal to exit the market. So now let me tell you what I looked out for in order to take this trade. Alright, now let me tell you what I looked out for in order for me to take this trade. So the first thing that I did was I went to my daily time frame, and in my daily time frame I made sure that the market wasn't in a resistance area. This method is the same for all of the boom pairs. Alright, so the first thing is you want to make sure that the market is not in a resistance area. As you can see, it's clear there's no resistance area on the current candle. That was the first step. The second step was I came over to my H4 time frame, my 4-hour time frame, and I made sure of the same thing, which was I made sure that the current 4-hour candle was not in a resistance area. The third thing is I came over to my M15, and in my M15 I'm looking at the trend, right? So the trend must be up. As you can see, this is an uptrend. It's a clear uptrend. These are the very powerful things that you need to make sure it was a clear uptrend. So once I saw that it was a clear uptrend, I knew that the trade was good to go. And here on the M15, you don't have to worry about the resistance area, a resistance area like this one. This resistance area, you just have to worry about it if it's in your daily or if it's in your 4-hour time frame. So once I saw it was an uptrend, I came over to my M1 for my entry. And for my entry, this is what I looked out for. Number one, I looked out for the fact that the market had been selling here. There was some selling pressure. There was some selling pressure in an uptrend, in an overall uptrend. So once I saw that okay, there's been selling pressure going on here, which you can clearly see here, then I understood that this level here, it spiked, came back, spiked, which was clear for me that this level here is what we call a support. If you don't know how to identify a support level, you can use the one that the markets draw for you, right? You can take trades when the market has drawn it for you. But for me here, I was able to clearly see that this was a support. And then when it gave me this signal right here, which was a buy signal, all I had to do was enter my trade and then let it run. So as you can see, it hit TP1, it hit TP2 as well. Now for the TPs, this is how I take my TPs. The way I take my TPs is if it spikes like the way it spiked, the first spike actually almost hit TP, but it didn't. So what I did is I waited, and after some candles, boom, it hit TP. So the way I do it is, if it spikes and then it comes back and touches my TP1 line again, I would exit and take TP1. So in this case, it spiked, right? Came and spiked again and hit TP2. So even for TP2, I do the same thing. When it spikes, I wait, and if it touches my TP2 line again, like you saw, that's when I decided to exit. That's when I exited. So that's how I go about it. Then for the stop loss, like we talked about in the other video on crash, For the stop loss, this stop loss right here is for one position. If you've entered one position, like I like to take my trading step by step, been doing this for a long time. I can enter one position for each trade because I know there'll be more signals. I'll get more signals. I can use risk management. It's okay. Now, there's some people who like to enter multiple positions. If you've entered multiple positions, use the 10% rule, which is 10% of your account size. Okay, so if you've got 5 positions opened, you're using $100 account and you see your account is now negative 10, what is it that you do? You exit. Okay, so this stop loss is if you've entered one position. So if you've entered one position, you can use this stop loss. It's alright. If you've got multiple positions open, just use the 10% rule. Alright, so that's how I took this trade. That's the things that I looked out for. This is valid. You can see right here, you can see an example here, right? There are these signals that were given by the system, and you can see that when there was some selling pressure, like over here, when there was some selling pressure and then it drew this support, you can see when this signal was given, boom, it spiked, and it spiked really strongly. As you can see, it went all the way up to this side. All right, you can see beautiful spikes happened here following this same setup. Now, as we talked about, like I told you in the other video, this method is the same. Even if you're using M1, M2, M5, it's the same method. So like I talked about in the other video, if you're new, you haven't been really trading for a very long time, or you're just starting out with the system, you want to use your M5 time frame. I use M1 because I've been trading for a really long time, because we know that in our M1 there's more activity, there are more signals, there's more things going on, right? So if you're new, you want a time frame where you can get a good number of signals, right? But it's also not that too many, because we all know M1 has more activity. So I recommend you use M5 because this is still valid. If you like, you can use M1. I use M1, M2, M5. I use all those time frames to take my trades. All right. So again, let me go over what I talked about. What I start off is with my daily, and I make sure there's no resistance area anywhere. As we can see here, there's no resistance on my daily. The current candle is not in a resistance area. Then I make sure of the same thing in my H4 time frame, no resistance area. Okay, great. I come over to my M15 and I make sure it's an uptrend. How do you identify the trend? You can see clearly this is an uptrend. It's not hard to identify. Or you can use a moving average. That's why I told you to install the moving average. I can see here that this is an uptrend. Once that checks out, I then go to my time frame that I want to use for entries. That could be the M5 or the M1 time frame. And that's how I took this specific trade. Alright, so if you've got questions or if you're not clear about something, just message me. I'll be able to assist you.